Country music, homesteading, and agriculture. What do they have in common? To be honest, not a whole lot. But they all suffer from something I'm going to call the conservative effect. I define the conservative effect as such: an effect wherein conservatives gatekeep certain activities, usually of rural and blue-collar origins, or anything that falls within similar categories. So none of these activities are inherently bad. In fact, a lot of them harbor massive communities of those that go directly against conservative beliefs. The problem comes with the fact that so many are bigoted and hateful within these groups, so the whole activity gains a stigma, and in the worst case scenarios, actually mentally and physically hurts people. Now, I'm not saying that country music causes racism, or trying to live a sustainable life is going to cause people to commit hate crimes. No, the problem lies within the thinking that these people create. Let's take the example of homesteading, which has become super popular now that people are kind of realizing that the government and the country itself is kind of starting to burn down, and they're trying to rely on it less. Unfortunately, though, influencers inside of this homesteading category of living oftentimes spread really bad misinformation and hateful, bigoted messages, especially towards the LGBTQ plus community. To emphasize my point, I'm going to be watching a video called "You Can't Be a Liberal Homesteader Today." Alright, we're here with the gamer headphones on, and you know what that means. We're about to make fun of a little goober. I have found this video called "You Can't Be a Liberal Homesteader Today" by an American homestead. So let's get right into it. Actually, so his intro starts with him basically saying how he found a woman on the internet who offered a collab with him because they both have the mutual interest of homesteading and chickens. And he basically took one look at her profile and said, "Nah, bitch, you actually vote blue, and we can't be friends."
Person who lives in maybe semi-rural suburbia.
So the person he's talking about is living in semi-rural suburbia is that woman that we were talking about.
I'm just going by what I saw from the couple videos that I watched. Who is an admitted bleeding heart.
Oh no.
And she has her entire chicken run, or entire chickens, all of her chickens are kept in a giant run that's completely, covered. So there's no free ranging. She doesn't believe in free ranging her birds. And she says, yes, there's predators out there, but I don't agree with dispatching the predators. And she says, because the predators are important. They help keep down the mice and rat population.
Yeah, they do. They really do. So one of the biggest things when raising chickens is the first question you have to ask if you do want to do cage or do you want to do free range. And this question's a really important one because it revolves around a couple of things. One, you should always be keeping the environment in mind when you're making decisions that have to do with the environment, and getting chickens definitely do. So he has problem with this lady for not free ranging her chickens simply because she doesn't want to kill the predatory animals. There's a lot of reasons why. One, she's allowed to do that because it's her right to do that. There's nothing wrong with keeping your chickens in a cage as long as it's large enough. In fact, I have my chickens in a cage right now, and they're some of the happiest chickens, ducks, guineas, and peacocks that I've ever owned. So it's not a big deal to have them free range. And his biggest issue here is that she won't kill the predators. That's a problem. She has to want to kill these things. It's necessary. She's not allowed to, just genuinely not want to do that, have a fear of it, be squeamish, anything. She has to kill these things with her bare hands. It's a little bit psychopathic, dude, that you really, you think everyone needs to be able to kill.
Let the predators live. And meanwhile, I won't let my chickens free range, and so we'll all be happy.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? The chickens are happy, she's happy, the predators get to stay where they are, they're not getting freaking decimated. Also, this lady lives in suburbia. What do you care? There could be a lot of reasons why she would want to cage her chickens. Maybe the place she lives, her neighbors don't want chickens that could get into their yard. Or maybe her homeowners association doesn't allow free-range chickens. There's a lot of things. There's tons and tons of regulations that towns have for stuff that you can have in your own yard. There's a bajillion reasons why this lady could have chosen to cage her chickens Besides just not wanting to kill predators, which is a perfectly valid reason in itself.
I'll keep them enclosed in this giant enclosure that's covered and everything, and I'll just let the predators be because they're important to the rat and mice population. Lady, I don't know about you, but my chickens will...
Just want to specify the way that he says lady. Lady is not, is obviously not a derogatory word. That'd be wild. But the way that he says lady, it's almost in a way to like demean her. At least it's the way that comes off. It comes off as a misogynistic tone. And if you didn't mean that, sir, I'm sorry for putting that on you, but just know that it comes off that way. And as someone who's a content creator, you have to be wary of your tone. It's a very important thing.
Eat rats and mice. In fact, I had a guy the other day just tell me that his rooster went over and clobbered a giant rat. You know, ate what it wanted out of it, and then basically fed it to the hens.
Yeah, I had a buddy who said his rooster went over on a rat and went with a boom, 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 and fucking killed that thing, and they were eating it like a feast. Yeah, that's really cool. My peacock literally skydives onto mice. It's awesome to see, but you don't see me bragging about it because I'm not a psychopath. Like, that's a whole nother talking issue. It's really weird. There are a lot of conservative men who, like, almost get off to, like, things being killed. And that's so weird.
Plus, we have cats here. So, I'm like...
Do not let your cats be outside. Cats pose a huge ecological threat. They are one of the biggest reasons, and I will link stuff in the description to all of these studies. They are one of the biggest reasons why we have diminishing songbird populations. In fact, there are species of songbirds that domesticated cats have made extinct, that are no longer extant species because of them. Like, outdoor cats are one of the biggest invasive problems we have worldwide. In fact, so much that there's regulation for outdoor cats in most places. So please, if you own a cat, if you have a cat, just keep it inside. It's not cute to have outdoor kitties, and like kitties get outside sometimes, but they cause severe harm. They're not meant to be outside. This is not the place they are. If you want to take them outside, you need to make sure they're either on a leash or you have some sort of special area built for them that they cannot escape, because cats should not be outside.
If you're a raccoon or a possum or some fox or whatever, bobcat, and you're trying to get my chickens and I can get a clear line of sight of you, it's over. It is over.
Yeah. If you even look like you trying to even like breathe in the general direction of my yard as a raccoon or an opossum, I will kill you. I will get out a shotgun and kill you. Like, dude, half the time... So, listen, as someone who raised chickens, yeah, these things can be passed. I've had chickens be killed by raccoons. I've had chickens be killed by weasels. I've had plenty of chickens pass away from unfortunate circumstances. But in the end of the day, there's two things here. One, I've come into the place that these things already live. And two, I can do this really cute thing called trapping and relocating them. You see, the problem is not that they exist. The problem is that they are affecting me existing. So instead of removing them from the entire planet as such, I move them. And I understand that it is a privilege to be able to trap and relocate animals rather than kill them. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with killing them. I have a problem with people that basically say that is the only way that you should ever do anything, and that killing things is the way God intended.
I will take you out quicker than a pokey poke heart attack.
That's a funny joke. I really laughed a whole lot and thought that I was going to explode from a pokey poke heart attack because I was simply laughing too much.
So, I'm like, not to mention, outside of her giant chicken run, she had this giant Buddha statue, and I'm like, okay, we're done here. All right, anyway.
Not to mention that outside of her chicken coop, there was a statue of Buddha. And I hate the Buddhists. Alright? They can leave. I just, like, all jokes aside, what the hell, dude? You saw a Buddha statue and immediately was like, this person is bad. This person is Satan.
My chickens serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Okay, cringe line aside, your reasoning behind not talking to this woman was because, well, one of your primary reasons, let's put it that way, was because she had a Buddha statue, and you assume that because she has different beliefs than you. You know, you're already assuming that she's a Buddhist, because someone can't have a decoration and just have it be a decoration or like a different meaningful symbol to them. No, it has to be the thing that it's there for. You automatically assume this person is a bad person because of the fact that they have a Buddha statue. What you just did there is called this little cute thing called religious discrimination, and it's actually not legal. I don't know if you know that it's not legal. So I wouldn't do it. The cops might get you. You might be captured by the feds. You know. But seriously, really gross that he just immediately is like, that's a Buddhist? Get the fuck out of here.
No Buddhas here. I don't talk to Buddha people. Anyway, all that.
I don't talk to Buddha people. That's fucking wild. Dude, oh my god. Saying Buddha people is so fucking messed up, dude. That, like, listen, I don't care if he intended it to in some sort of negative way. It is in a negative way. It doesn't matter if he intended it or not. The connotation of that is negative inherently. You cannot call Buddhists Buddha people. I don't think it needs an explanation. You just don't do that. That's weird and gross. Stop doing that.
Hey, my chickens, I mean, leave a comment below if your chickens are the same way, but my chickens are like tiny little dinosaurs. In fact, I've got a little sign out there that Tim put up that it.
So this is just a weird little tangent that he goes on. Doesn't have any meaningful impact on it. But I did have a small gripe. Autism had a small gripe with the sign. That chicken on the top right here. So yes, that little chicken right there is technically a dinosaur if we're going by phylogeny and things like that. What's not a dinosaur, alrighty, are these wings and that crown.
Beware of tiny
Pterodactyls. Which is, I'm assuming what that's meant to be because it's a very popular dinosaur, are not dinosaurs. They were simply flying reptiles, and he didn't make this, he doesn't know that. I just, side tangent, refresher from all of the disgusting bigotry.
Any dinosaurs. They will take care of all your rats and mice. If they see them, they will absolutely eat them. So that's one thing. I'm going some.
Also, this lady didn't have a problem with that her chickens would eat mice and rats. She didn't say anything about that. Like, at least, granted I did not watch the video or whatever the fuck he's talking about. I've only seen him. But he did not say that she was talking about having a problem with her chickens eating mice and rats. What she said is she doesn't want to have to kill the predators so that her chickens can do that. I don't think this guy has listening comprehension. Because she didn't have a problem with her chickens eating mice. In fact, from what it sounds like, she didn't have a problem with things being killed at all. She just personally doesn't want to go slaughter a bunch of foxes, opossums, and raccoons outside.
Somewhere with this. So the other day also, there's this whole big push in Michigan and other states as well about trying to regulate homeschool. And I posted a video, or I posted an article out there, and I said, don't regulate our homeschools, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, a woman comes back, and she said,
so before he even says, because all he's going to say is that the woman was like, well, we should regulate schools. In fact, we should regulate them all. I don't know why I did a voice, because that's a very good take. We should, in America, we have a substantial education problem. And it is a wild take to say we should not. So he's about to basically say we should not regulate homeschools at all. Bad take. Terrible take. So when we look at homeschoolers, when we look at them, they have higher history scores and they have higher English scores on average, but where they severely lack is in math and science, and it's not like a small amount. Also attempt to link a study in there that for that in the description. But like on top of all of that, Regulation is required so that people don't teach their kids awful stuff. But the problem is the things that he wants kids to be taught is the awful stuff. Like, that's what he wants. He wants kids to be taught racist beliefs, homophobic beliefs. He wants them to be taught completely from one book, probably the Bible, and he does not want them to actually get a formal education because he views learning as a problem. And that's the general view of all people like this.
Says we need more regulation of homeschoolers.
We do.
We need this regulation. In fact, we need it everywhere. And I was just like, what? And so
base take from that lady, we do need regulation every single place in the U.S. for education.
He began an argument. And I went over to her profile, looked at her profile, and she's from my state, which is a red state, and her profile is described as a blue voter in a sea of red. And she's an off-grid homesteader. An off-grid homesteader. Now,
that's so funny, dude. You're telling me that she cares about people and can live off the grid? That doesn't happen. You have to hate people and live off the grid. Everyone knows that you can't simply just want to have a peaceful, relaxing life. No, the reason to go off grid is because you hate how woke the fucking country's becoming.
I don't understand how you can be an off-grid homesteader and a liberal at this point. And we're going to talk.
That line sums up the entire video. There's not a single point in this entire video, spoiler, where he ever poses actual evidence for why you cannot be a liberal and be a homesteader. He just says, I don't get it. You can't be a liberal and a homesteader. It's not possible.
Through this. And we're just going to explore some things.
We're just going to
explore some realities of the world we're currently finding ourselves in. And we're going to see if is it possible to be a liberal homesteader? I think, no. If you call yourself a liberal, bleeding heart homesteader, a blue voter that happens to exist in a sea of red, you're not living in reality.
If you have sympathy for anyone in any capacity, you're not real. In fact, you died. Yeah, you're dead. I saw it. You died. I killed you with my gun. That's what do you mean you're not living in reality? These people are doing they're doing the thing. I don't know how they're doing the thing. Jesus, dude.
Not at this point. You're completely disconnected. So here we go. My response to this woman, because she told me, son, I've been homesteading off-grid longer than you've probably been alive. Oh.
Clearly, probably an exaggeration. This man is 40 or 50 or somewhere in between there. So she's probably exaggerating. It was probably for a joke.
Okay. Listen, I am not above trying to learn things from my elders. Okay, that you can learn a lot from your elders. You should have.
I'm not above trying to learn from my elders, but only when my elders are bigoted and racist. Those are the only ones you can learn anything from. If they voted for Obama, then you can't learn a damn thing from them.
Have an open mind and open ears when it comes to learning from your elders. But I think that you're faking it at this point. If you're telling me all this, you're full of baloney. Because if you're an off-grid homesteader, there's no way you could be raising animals because all the people that you're voting blue for are trying to take those things away from you. There's no way you could.
Okay, so let's actually read what this says. Mayor Adams commits to reducing cities' food-based emissions by 33% by 2030 after releasing new greenhouse gas emissions inventory incorporating emissions from food. So not only does this not say anything about removing homesteading, but it also says stuff that they're only removing food-based emissions by 33%. This doesn't affect greenhouse gas emissions, at all, dude. What the fuck are you on about?
Can have a wood stove at this point or a propane stove at this point because all the
everyone knows that you cannot homestead without burning on a wood stove. It's a requirement. You're not allowed to use solar panels, so you could still use electrical cookware. Maybe not even because you actually care about the environment, just for the safety that electrical cookware actually gives you. But on top of that, let's read what this little article says. Chicago becomes latest Democratic city to pursue gas stove ban. You know, homesteading is such a beautiful thing. I love being out in the deep country where I can have my nice open field. But then I remember, I look over 2 feet to my left, and I see gang violence because I'm in the middle of fucking Chicago. You know, that city where people all the time start massive farms in the middle of the bustling neighborhood of Chicago. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Not only is this not a wood stove or a propane stove that you, well, actually it is propane stoves, it's gas stoves. Not only is it not wood stoves, which is your biggest issue, but it's in a fucking city. Dude, there's no one homesteading in Chicago. Like not a single one. I can guarantee you there's not a single person that is rational that is attempting to homestead in Chicago. So, like, what is this coming from? Why would you need a gas stove in Chicago? Electric does the same thing.
The people you're voting blue for are trying to take those things away from you. There's no way that you could be a hunter and hunt for deer.
There's no way you could be a hunter. Yeah, no duh. If you don't like guns, you're probably not gonna hunt. Because you probably don't like bows and arrows or crossbows either if you don't like guns. Or maybe you do. Maybe you only hunt in bow season. That's a really, really, like, big thing. But also, you ever thought about this thing called vegetarian or vegan? Or possibly you're only partially homesteading and you still buy all of your meat from the store. It's a thing. Like, you don't have to be a hunter to be a homesteader. There's a reason why they're, like, homesteading's not called hunting.
Around here like we live, and she was from my state. Because all the people you're voting blue for are trying to take those evil...
Appeals court allows California law banning guns in public places to go into effect. Yes. California. Notorious for a ton of people who love homesteading. And I'm actually willing to bet that this policy didn't even go into effect. Because it would have made national news. It's crazy that you think that this happened.
Nasty guns away from you. There's no way you could drive a tractor or a truck today, especially one of those nasty diesel ones.
Yes. Because even if someone opposes something, right? They disagree with it. That means they can't be hypocritical at all, right? Because, you know what? Let's take the example of leftists. Leftists hate capitalism. Do you know what we still have to participate in on a regular basis? Capitalism. I personally also hate the use of gas and diesel. Do you know what I have to use on a regular basis? Gas and or sometimes diesel. Because I can't simply gain the ability to fucking fly where I need to go and all of a sudden teleport and be there. I still have to get to places to live my goddamn life. So yes, I can drive a tractor or I can drive a truck and still have progressive beliefs. It's wild, I know.
Because all the people you're voting blue for are trying to take those things.
New Jersey seeks public comment on plan to ban sale of gas-powered cars. State seeks to phase out sales by 2035. Dude, you're acting like this stuff is happening tomorrow. This plan is for 2035. And on top of that, as we're like getting rid of gas, we're inventing new ways to replace gas. It's not like we're like just getting rid of them and saying, fuck it, that's what we gotta deal with now. So like, by the time this happens, not only would you have found something you could have done to just prevent the need for gas, but like people who homestead usually have to start out with a massive amount of cash anyway. Just buy solar panels. Like, you don't honestly need to use fucking gas. Like, there's alternatives. They're not trying to take away homesteading.
Away from you. And at that point, of course, I got blocked. I mean, I didn't...
Oh my god. I thought that you were just doing the whole thing where you were like having an argument in the shower and you're like, I told this bitch this and that. No, you were just harassing a woman online. That's all you were doing. I cannot believe that you legitimately decided to like fucking message this woman. Assuming this is the same woman that like said, I've been doing this for a long time. I can teach you some things. So she hits you up, says I can teach you some stuff, and you go, well, actually, you voted for Obama, so you can fucking eat shit and die. That's wild. I'm glad she blocked you.
Even come on, let's stay and play. You know, let's explore this a little bit. See, you give them a little bit of dose of reality, and they just don't want to play anymore.
I was about to give him a pass for saying, come on, stay and play. But then he doubled down and said play again, and it made me feel uncomfortable. Why do you do that? It's not playing. You harassed a woman on the internet. That's not playing. And if that is playing, I think you need to find jail. Jail has your name on it. Anyway, moving on.
But that's what's happening right now. My case in point. Let's take a look at this. The New York Attorney General, Blue State, Letitia James, says, I'm suing JBS Foods USA, the world's largest beef producer, for misleading the public about its environmental impact. The beef industry is one of the largest contributors to climate change, and JBS has falsely advertised its commitment to sustainability and endangered our planet.
So everything in this tweet, absolutely true. I just want to point out a couple of things because he's going to try to say otherwise. Notice how this attorney general is suing a specific company because they have been lying about their commitment to sustainability and endangering our planet. One company, just so happens to be one of the biggest beef producers in the world, does not fucking matter. She's not suing the beef industry as a whole. She's suing a company for being bad. Now, granted, she probably fucking could sue the beef industry as a whole because all of them are this corrupt. But, just keep that in mind. It's one goddamn company.
These are the kind of people who want to rule your life. You can't be an off-grid homesteader and raise, have beef cattle.
Yeah, people that care about the environment want people that don't care about the environment to actually care about the environment. That's bad. You can't own chickens and grow potatoes unless you like throwing plastic and oil into the ocean, like an American.
They're going to take it away from you. They've made it very clear they want to take it away from you. They're going to sue the world's largest beef producer. And trust me, Letitia James, she's doing this because she knows the courts, at least in her state, and in her region, are stacked in her favor.
No, she's doing this because she wants them to stop lying about their carbon footprint. She wants them to actually, follow the laws that say they have to have environmental regulation. She's not doing this because the courts are stacked in her favor. Alright, not all of us believe that the world runs like a fucking high school debate, dude. We don't care if the judge knows our mom so that we can get extra points. Cause you like to say that people aren't living in reality. I want to talk reality for a second, dude. She did that because she cares. She actually has a belief. She wasn't just told something. It's wild.
And she will pull this off. She's going to bankrupt. That means put out of business the world's
We know what bankrupt means.
largest beef producer. The largest beef producer.
When you emphasize the point, it doesn't change how stupid you are.
In the world. You guys, have you not seen all of the cattle ranches and food packing plants that have just somehow burst into flames?
I looked this up. I found a single, anything that was on fire or blown up. It was 13,000 cows. It was a freak accident, dude. It was probably some methane buildup. That thing that cows burp all the time. That thing that's actively causing the fucking planet to destroy itself. It's explosive, right? Methane is explosive. And when you trap a bunch of beasts that breathe methane in a closed building, turns out sometimes it can blow up in the Texas heat.
Over the last few years, did you miss all those? Now, we're talking about...
I must have missed all those because not a single one could I find. Tis 'Tis nary a response, my lord.
The world's largest beef producer, like in the world. And they're going after them to put them out of business because they're destroying the environment. They're destroying the
They are.
planet. If you're a homesteader who likes to eat meat, but in some skewed version of reality, you're voting blue.
Obviously, those two things correlate. Because everyone knows liberals are notorious for wanting to shut down the beef industry and stopping global warming. Because, liberals don't have the same oil barons as lobbyists paying them at all. Why would they have that? That's not how government works. People don't get paid money to say awful things. That never happens. But like, in all seriousness, liberals don't give a shit about shutting down the beef industry. Like, dude, they barely care that there is global warming problems at all. They're almost as bad as Republicans when it comes to climate change. So, like, I don't know what fucking horse you're on, or what liberal, or like what leftists you found that called themselves a liberal that said that they care about the cattle industry. But please direct me to them, because I'd like to inform them they're probably not a liberal.
Doesn't make sense.
I don't get it. I don't get it at this point.
Trust me, we understand that. We know that you don't get it. We're all aware that you don't get it. Everyone else here understands that issues have nuance. It just seems to be, you and people like you, conservatives, that don't get that. And it's okay. I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. And that this is not how the world works. So congrats. You get it now.
I don't get it. If you are a gun owner, if you drive a pickup truck, if you have a tractor, if you raise chickens.
So this is what I mean by the conservative effect. This shows it off exactly. He just listed off a bunch of things that have nothing to do with being conservative. They all have to do with being in a rural community and making a living or living your life in a rural community. There is nothing inherently conservative about chickens, a tractor, or trucks. The only thing that I would say is even remotely conservative on the list that he's made is guns. And guess what? Liberals like guns. Like, I understand that you don't really understand what a liberal is because you're putting out a lot of leftist ideology in this video, but to say that you can't be a liberal homesteader and that liberals would not own guns is crazy. That's fucking wild because it's just untrue. But, like, I would say this plus something else that he's going to say later, and I'll point it out when he says it. That is the conservative effect. He takes a bunch of things that aren't inherently conservative and just goes, you have to be conservative to like those things or to own those things.
You're talking about people who want you to eat crickets to save the planet, and you're raising chickens? You're a bleeding heart chicken owner? See, you're doing this as...
Bro definitely wanted to say slurs there, but had to stop himself. You're a bleeding heart? Like, okay, let's calm down there.
The hobby. The rest of us in the room, see, we have figured out, we can read the writing on the wall. We see the trajectory of where this is going, and we're trying to prepare because there's going to come a time when you're not going to be able to buy these things in a store anymore. And I want to be able to raise them for myself. There may come a time when they come marching on our homesteads and start taking these things away, and at which point our lives are over because...
This is the second part of the conservative effect. This weird persecution belief that comes with all of this stuff. Like, let's take an example that's not homesteading. Like, they'll be like, country music tells the truth, and every time I listen to it, I get reminded that there are still good people in the world, but the government's come, they're gonna kill all the country music singers. Like that. Imagine saying that. But he's doing that, but for homesteading. He's like, they're gonna come and take away our chickens in my rutabaga because I one time said that I don't like them queers. Like, dude, no, they're not. No, they're not. No fucking federal agent is coming out to bumfuck nowhere to take your chickens away from you. No one's coming to fucking steal your pig and laugh at you. Like, it's just not happening. But this persecution comes with everything that conservatives take over. They can't do an activity without someone trying to stop them. They can't just enjoy something. They're not allowed to.
We're going to not comply with that, and there will be a gun battle, and probably will die because they have more assets and resources to throw at the problem than we do.
Conservatives also have this like weird fucking belief that at some point the government's gonna show up and they're gonna have this like anime style fucking fight with them that results in them dying as a martyr. I don't mean to burst your bubble, but if the fucking U.S. government shows up, there's not going to be a person at your doorstep. There's going to be a missile on your home. They're just going to drone strike you, dude. Like, you're not going to... The scenario of, and I saw the federal agent pulling up, and so I pulled out my 12-gauge shotgun, and I stared at him, and I said, "You federal agent are only wearing Kevlar grade 3. This shotgun pierces through Kevlar grade 4. And I killed him. But then they came with their tanks, and they took my home from me, and murdered my family." No, dude, that's not gonna happen. The fucking president's gonna go, "Oh, huh. We have a little problem here in the middle of Idaho. That's really cool." Boop. Look at that! Problem fucking gone. Entire village destroyed by intercontinental ballistic missile. That's fucking wild. Which, like, that's not gonna happen either. But it's wild to me that they think they have a chance against the government if they were ever, like, to rise up.
In order to stand up to that. But, until that day, we can see the trajectory of where things are going. If you're still voting for this insanity, this is the reason why red states are telling people from California, please don't come here unless you're going to change the way you voted before.
What's that? Red states don't want blue voters? Dude, my entire mind just got blown. No, you're telling me all the people that are on the red team don't want the blue team to take over because they'll lose points and money and power? Oh no! Dude, seriously? Of course red states don't want fucking blue voters to come in. They lose power if that happens. That's like kind of the whole way that the two-party system works. It's like you're playing a fucking game of Overwatch and you're trying to take the control point. These people don't want to give up on it. Like, they just want the game to be over as quickly as possible. So of course they want fucking blue voters.
Because you're bringing that insanity here. Don't come from New York. Don't come from the state of New York.
You're bringing that insanity. Your insanity thinking that black people and trans people should be allowed to live? That's fucking insane, you lunatic.
New York, and vote the way you did to get people like Letitia James inside of that position.
Why'd you use that gif when you mentioned Letitia James there, champ? That looked like Stanley from The Office, not Letitia James. And last I checked, I don't think there was any bit or joke attached to that. Why did you use the gif of Stanley, sir?
Position of power, and then come here and vote the same way, and then still eat beef.
It's almost like some people don't have any other choice, even if they oppose it, than to eat beef or meat. It's almost like sometimes the food that they have, what is offered to them, is the only thing they can grab. I mean, that's assuming that you don't think poor people apparently exist. That, like, have to eat cheap things like hot dogs and low-quality hamburgers and stuff to actually, eat. But even if poor people didn't exist, like, there's reasons that someone would need to eat red meat for, like, health, right? Like, it's not out of comprehension that someone would actually have to eat red meat.
Oh my good! I'm sorry. You can't be a liberal homesteader. Not anymore. because the lines are too clearly, in front of you. You're either going to be one or the other. You can't live in this dream world anymore.
You've been living in a dream world, Neo.
It's not possible. Am I crazy? Am I wrong?
The answer to both those questions, are you crazy and are you wrong? I don't know about the crazy, but you were definitely wrong on this. I think I'm biased. I think I would say you are a little crazy, a little out there. You're definitely bigoted, unfortunately. That really sucks for you. But with that, this is the rest of the video. He just keeps saying, I don't understand how someone could have views that are different than me and continue to enjoy things like cows. Not allowed. You cannot seep the milk out of the udders of a cow unless you want to gobble the cock of Trump. So in all honesty, I kind of chose this video at random, but I'm glad I chose this one because it pretty much almost demonstrates every example of what I want to consider to be the conservative effect. Now, it might just be the bias that I have from being in a small town for my entire life, but conservatives do this with every activity they can possibly get their grubby little hands on. They just constantly push out groups of people who do not fit the stereotype of white conservative man, or woman in these case scenarios, because trust me, this isn't just weird dudes, there's weird gals out there too. It's awesome. But they isolate people, and then they get really upset when those people no longer want to have conversations with them. Probably because you just told them they're not allowed to exist. But let me just make this clear. I'm not just trying to target that dude, because obviously he's not the only one who does this, and he was probably affected by the pipeline at some point that told him that you have to be Republican in order to have chickens or freaking grow a carrot or some shit. The point in all of this is we should not let ourselves be pushed away from activities like homesteading or country music or agriculture simply because they want us to go away. Now, if you look at things like recently Tractor Supply had just made incredibly large leaps to say that they don't support anyone in the LGBTQ plus community. I don't think that they understand how big of an impact that makes on people's lives. And if they do, that is incredibly devastating. But the conservative effect is the direct cause of that. The reason why Tractor Supply did what it did was because conservatives made them think that only they buy things from them. So if we continue to leave these activities and let conservatives kick us out, then we will do nothing but prove them right. And they will keep taking rights away from the LGBTQ plus community, from the black and brown communities, from tons and tons of different minorities, simply because they are in the lesser group. They're in the group that doesn't have a massive mob telling them they gotta get out of here. And so I urge you to stay in these communities and stay safe. Be reminded that while these communities are trying to kick us out, and we shouldn't let them do that, they're still ultimately harmful. And they will kill people. So, I guess with all of that, I hope you liked the video. And if you did, remember to drop it a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Have a good day, a good evening, or good night. Bye-bye.